Nearly a year after Richmond police officer Daniel Ellis was killed in the line of duty, his cruiser going back into service, operating as kind of a tribute to him.
Well, that low pressure system and that front still back toward the west. When does it move on through, and how is that going to affect our plans as we go throughout the next couple of days? We're going to go over that coming up.
This is WKYT News at Noon.
Good afternoon, Bill Bryant and Barbara Bailey for WKYT News. Here's what's happening at noon.
There's extra security at a southern Kentucky school today after threats were made against 2 students.
The Clay County superintendent says the threat was discovered around midnight. WKYT's Phil Pendleton is in Manchester now with the details on our top story at noon. Phil?
Well, Bill, the situation began about 9:30 last night. The principal of Clay County High School tells me, Mike Gregory, says that they immediately began investigating it, and they actually learned that the recipient or the person that was being threatened was not a Clay County High School student at all. It was actually a student at Jackson County High School, and there was another student, a girlfriend of that student, that was also being threatened. But police began investigating it. The student who allegedly made the threat is a student at Clay County High School. Manchester police went and talked to that student. That student, I am told, is not at school today. The principal maintains everything is safe. There is no problem whatsoever. But they have, again, they did increase security, but there is no problem at all at Clay County High School, according to the principal. The matter is still being investigated. They say the investigation is being wrapped up at this point. The student is not at school today who allegedly made the threat. Very little information is being released about that student. We do believe that he is a juvenile, but because of the situation at hand, they are not releasing his name. They're not releasing his age. In fact, the principal would not even say whether he was a juvenile, but police did say it is a juvenile in question. We're still trying to gather details. We just got here just a couple of moments ago. We hope to have more for you later today. But for now in Clay County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Phil, thank you. Also new at noon, a man is in jail accused of attacking officers in Frankfort. Herberto Hernandez was arrested early this morning. Police say it started when Hernandez ran away from a traffic stop. He was found hiding in a man's backyard. When he tried to run again, police say he punched an officer in the face and tried to strangle him before he tried then to pull out a knife. Hernandez is now facing a long list of charges.
Well, it was once the focus of a makeshift memorial. Today, a fallen Richmond police officer's cruiser is again front and center.
Officer Daniel Ellis was killed in the line of duty last November. 9 months later, his colleagues are rolling out a new tribute. WKYT's Sean Moody is in Richmond now to explain. Sean?
The last time Officer Daniel Ellis's cruiser was out here on the lawn in front of the police department, it was covered in flowers and messages of support from the community. Now it's back out here with new decals like Officer Ellis's signature across the hood and a new mission. The Richmond Police Department put the cruiser back out here around 10 a.m. today. Some officers and some of Officer Ellis's family members came out to see it. It's got new decals honoring Ellis, like his badge number on the front, a thin blue line behind the police logo, and his signature across the hood of the car. Eventually, this cruiser will go to the school resource officer who works out of the same high school Ellis's wife Katie works at. Richmond Police Major Steve Gregg expects this car will have an impact.
Every time they see this car at the school, you know, they'll remember that. They'll remember him, and they'll remember, you know, what he stood for, and that's what we're hoping. We want to keep his legacy alive. He was really a great police officer and a great person.
Major Gregg said the cruiser will officially go back into service after a couple of days of being on display here. In Richmond, Sean Moody, WKYT.
And by the way, Officer Ellis's young son, Luke, has a replica of his dad's car with that same signature on the hood.
Well, the daily chance of storms continues this week, but the chances are better some days than others. WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is live at our First Alert Weather Center now with an early look at the forecast. Micah?
Boy, we were looking last week and thinking we would have a good 2 to 4 inches of rain by the time we actually walked through the door early this morning. But that front has not moved. I mean, seriously, you get warm front to the north of us, cold front back toward the west, It's slowly making its way toward us, but what we're going to be seeing, we're actually in that warm sector. So you look south, that's where you'll start to see those thunderstorms spark up. You're seeing those right there over I-40 in Knoxville and heading up 75 here in the next couple of hours. You are going to see the better opportunity of rain in that area around 75, around the Cumberland region and back toward Howard Rogers Parkway. Then it makes its way over toward eastern Kentucky. So that's the best chance of rain today. Not the only chance, but the best chance. So London, you're going to get in on the mix earlier than, say, Lexington will, or sitting there even toward Jackson. I know you guys aren't that far away, but London, you'll get it before, at least have the chance of that before Jackson. So it's coming in from the south, and it will overspread at least southern and southeastern zones later this afternoon. Next 2 to 3 hours is when you can expect that. 87 degrees, couple of rumbles. But we're going to be talking about not just the threat today, but the next few days. And when that front rolls on through, what's back behind that? I have some really good news for you. That's coming up.
All right, Micah, thank you. A man accused of stabbing his father in a Bowling Green church says he was, quote, moved by the message. Ethan Buckley is charged with assault. He was arraigned this morning, and after digging through his arrest citation, WKYT's Rebecca Smith is at our live desk with some new details. Rebecca?
Moved by the message, that's why Ethan Buckley said he stabbed his father, David, in a church service. Buckley faces assault charges for the stabbing inside Hillview Heights Church. An associate pastor tackled Buckley after the stabbing and kept him there until police got to the scene. Ethan told the arresting officer he had thoughts of killing his father. He then said he stabbed him in the neck with a pocket knife because he thought it would be painless, a reference to trying to aim for the jugular. Buckley's father was hospitalized. We do not know his condition right now. Buckley pleaded not guilty during an arraignment this morning. At the live desk, Rebecca Smith, WKYT.
Rebecca, thank you. And members of the congregation say both men filled out visitor cards, and they both said that they were from Arkansas. Lexington police are looking for the men behind an overnight carjacking. Police say a woman was sitting in her car outside Red Mile Village when two men pulled a gun on her. They stole her phone, wallet, keys, and her car. Police are still looking for that stolen Toyota Corolla. A morning rush hour crash caused a huge mess in Lexington. Police say a car crashed into a tree on Newtown Pike near Citation Boulevard. The driver was not seriously hurt, but that crash caused a big backup on Newtown Pike all the way out to the interstate.
An Eastern Kentucky Fire Department is down a truck after that truck caught fire. The Warfield Volunteer Fire Department in Martin County says the fire was caused by a mechanical issue. The department was headed to an ATV accident when the truck caught fire. The Rescue 1 truck is a total loss. Flames from the truck also damaged another truck as well. The FAA will be in Laurel County today to investigate a small plane crash. That plane went down Friday at the London Corbin Airport. The airport manager says the pilot, Everett Hawthorne, was practicing takeoffs and landings when he hit a tree. Hawthorne is recovering from his injuries at UK Hospital. In Louisville, police say 3 teenage girls are recovering after they were shot. Police say the shooting happened early Sunday morning. The 2 14-year-old girls and 1 15-year-old were at an event at Club 115 when they got into some kind of altercation. Police say the teenagers left the club but were followed by the suspects who fired at the victim's vehicle.
Well, now the school is back in session. A frustrating problem is back as well for one Lexington neighborhood. Blairmore Road is often used as a cut-through for students and parents coming and going from Henry Clay High School. One neighbor says he has watched dozens of cars crash right outside his home, and he's been trying for years to get a solution to the number of cars and the speeding that he sees every day.
I feel like it's one of those things where I'd like to prevent a tragedy before it happens.
Anytime we have a neighborhood street near a school, we're going to have traffic issues.
Tonight at 6 on WKYT News, why the city says they can't do anything about those traffic troubles.
Well, the people of Lexington and Central Kentucky have been named among the most generous in America. A new study by Barna ranked the 50 most generous cities in America, and Lexington took the number 2 spot. According to the study, the majority of adults give to churches. You can find a list of the top 5 cities on WKYT.com. We knew that.
Yeah, there you go. Nice distinction to have.
Generous people.
More rain could make an already deadly situation in Louisiana much worse. We'll have the latest on the historic flooding there coming up in about 2.5 minutes.
And Donald Trump will tackle two big topics during a speech in Ohio today as his presidential challenger gets some help from a man already in the White House. Welcome back to Central Kentucky's #1 midday news. There's more rain in the forecast for southern Louisiana, where flooding has already left thousands in shelters.
Over the weekend, there were more than 20,000 water rescues. Don Champion has the latest from Baton Rouge.
3 days after the water started rising, there are still homes submerged in Baton Rouge. The Day family lost everything.
It looks like a island. Things are just disappearing. The cars are disappearing under the water.
Floodwaters overwhelmed thousands in the region. Local forecasters compared the storm that dumped about 20 inches of rain over the weekend to a hurricane without wind. The deluge kept Coast Guard helicopters busy in the air, while National Guard troops helped stranded victims on the ground. In all, crews rescued more than 20,000 people. Volunteers in small boats also did their part.
I'm so glad y'all doing
We're going to take a big
this. Are y'all
step up.
firemen or something?
No, ma'am.
Just good guys?
I don't know. My wife might disagree with that statement.
People say places that had never seen flooding before are now underwater. This area here is the meeting point where boats are carrying victims to dry land. The water came within 6 inches of flooding Walt Zweifel's home.
It was just very anxiety producing, at the least.
10,000 people spent Sunday night in shelters across Baton Rouge. Concern now grows in communities to the south of the city where voluntary evacuations have been ordered. Don Champion, CBS News, Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
And the federal government has declared a major disaster in the areas that are underwater. By the way, the Bluegrass Area chapter of the American Red Cross says it is ready to respond and go there if needed.
Police in Milwaukee say 4 deputies were hurt when demonstrators clashed with law enforcement for a second night. An 18-year-old was shot and seriously injured during the unrest Sunday night. The riot started a day earlier near where Slivel Smith was fatally shot by police. Officials say a review of body camera footage confirms Smith was armed as he fled a traffic stop.
Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump is planning a foreign policy and immigration speech up the road in Ohio today. He's expected to say that if he is elected to the White House, the U.S. will not consider ideology in aligning itself with countries willing to fight extremists. And Vice President Joe Biden is joining Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton in Pennsylvania. He has just arrived there. They'll be emphasizing the contention that Trump is unqualified and dangerous.
Adele won't be performing during the upcoming Super Bowl halftime show. Rumor has it. The British Grammy Award-winning artist says she declined the NFL's request to sing. But now the NFL and sponsor Pepsi are denying Adele was offered the opportunity. Super Bowl 51 will take place February 5th at Houston's NRG Stadium.
Coming up, the Corbin Independent School staff took in the powerful words from 2 educators. One, the former principal of Columbine High School.
We have some showers and thunderstorms already tracking down toward Tennessee, heading our direction. We're going to see those make their way into the state of Kentucky here in the next couple of hours. I'll show you what to expect out of those coming up.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Already seeing some showers and thunderstorms sparking up, and not only southeastern Kentucky, but into the portion of northern Tennessee. And what that's doing is it's heading northbound. So don't worry about all the rain up toward Indiana, Ohio. That's not affecting us. What's going to be affecting us, this right here, and also a little bits and pieces back down towards, say, Letcher County and Harlan County. So there's little pieces right now. They're actually starting to fire up, and they'll turn into some heavy downpours here very shortly. Roll off into, say, Monticello. You're going to be next in line. Whitley City, Pine Knot. Go off towards Jellicoe Mountain region. You'll be seeing this coming out of Knoxville here in about 2 hours, but some already sparking up in southeastern Kentucky too. So that's just going to be the case, and that's moving northbound. Okay, so just keep that in mind, southern zones. You'll have the best chance at rain today. Frankfort coming in at 84 degrees. It doesn't mean you're going to have the only chance. Frankfort, I would still give it about a 30% chance of rain there. I guess for Lexington, too. London, Jackson, you're more like 40 to 50% chance of actually seeing some passing showers and thunderstorms. So the farther south you are, obviously you can see that sparking up. Better likelihood, but still back toward the west, still is a possibility of picking up on some of those rumbles of thunder. That was the afternoon. Here's the evening hours. It's starting to fade away during the evening, and by the nighttime hours, I see all of it fading away, going off into toward midnight. Now let's talk about the next few days, how much rain we're expecting now. If you date back toward last week, it was looking like Sunday through about Tuesday, anywhere from 1 to 4 inches of rain, 4 being the max out of that. But now it doesn't look that way. All right, now it's more of a half an inch to about an inch of rain, and most locations, some could be a little bit higher than that, don't get me wrong. You could have one storm after another and one heavy downpour after another. Could lead to about an inch or two of rain, but for the most part, now through Wednesday, it's just kind of that hit and miss activity that some of us will get some heavier downpours, some of us will be missed out. It's just like yesterday, that's what we had. But I promise you this, okay, so we get the rain on through, really nice feel is coming. Check out these numbers. It's not just the temperatures. I always say this, okay, 84, 85 degrees could feel just like 90 degrees or even worse than, say, 90 degrees and low humidity. So it all depends on what the humidity's like, not so much the temperatures. Temperatures will look good, but humidity is going to be dropping as well. There's some good news for us as we head throughout the work week, guys, off towards your weekend. 80 degrees on Sunday is what I have right now.
We'll take it.
We may even have to drop that. We'll see.
Hope that works out.
That's right.
All right.
Too.
Keep it here on WKYT. We're back in just a moment. An eye-popping run, and American hero is golden again.
And Mark Stoops has brought in lots of young but ready men who are ready for the SEC. Dave Baker has sports next.
And checking stocks here early in the week, the major market indicators are up at midday.
And the football Cats back at work again this morning after the first scrimmage of fall camp on Saturday. Mark Stoops happy overall with what he saw, but he was also quick to point out something he's been saying all along. That's that the Cats are bringing in better players, but these talented youngsters need time to develop.
From the naked eye out there, and again, I want to watch the film, but you could see where, you know, those guys need some reps. You know, the inexperience definitely pops up in the physicality, and I guess that's a good sign because finally the rest of our team looks a little bit better. So when you see those freshmen in there just physically, it's a hard matchup for them still.
Tonight on the Big Blue Insider with Dick Gabriel, the latest from Mark Stoops, Cat's Paws editor Darryl Bird, and Tom Wallace, the author of the Encyclopedia of UK Basketball. That's at 6 on 630 WLAP. The coach has now had time to look at that tape. We'll talk about that with him. That's coming up tonight beginning at 6. But for now, guys, that's a look at sports on this Monday.
Okay, Dave, thank you so much.
And there's more to come in our next half hour of WKYT News at noon.
Including details about a discussion in Danville where the city is considering a new ordinance on fireworks. Also, tomorrow's Mega Millions jackpot, $52 million. Wednesday night's Powerball is $94 million.